E-learning is really a different way in which students can learn. Basically, students can learn when they want, where they want, at any particular time, which is convenient to them, as long as they've got access to a computer or their laptop. So what this means is, rather than attending university full-time, students can study in a part-time format. What that means is that they can essentially keep the day job going. They don't need to leave their existing employment. They can meet their family commitments, their work commitments, and study at a time which is suitable for them. Now, distance learning is also designed around individual learners. It's a different way of learning, but many students find this is preferable to the more traditional ways of learning for full-time students, in terms of things like attending lectures and seminars. And certainly students can learn at their own pace, the pace which is suitable for them and their particular circumstances. It's also very cost-effective. We estimate in St Andrews that the cost of doing an online distance learning course such as an MSc is less than half of the total cost of the fees that a student has to pay, alongside the accommodation costs of the full-time students, alongside living costs, alongside maybe visa costs for a foreign student, or things like childcare costs if a student has a family. It's also a cost-effective way for their employers to provide training, because essentially the employers can help their students perhaps with the financial costs of that training, but they get trained at a time which is suitable for the employer, and of course the employer doesn't lose that member of staff. If they had to go to university as a full-time student, they would lose that member of staff for at least 1 year. At the moment, we have one bursary scheme which is funded by the Scottish Funding Council, which is available to Scottish and EU students, and that's for students who wish to study the full MSc course in sustainable aquaculture. Now, both 5M Publishing and the University of St Andrews are currently trying to develop bursary schemes to provide financial support for students, particularly for students who are coming from developing areas where incomes are rather less than in the developed Western countries. So we hope to be able to develop bursary schemes in the future, and these schemes would actually be announced via the website of the course and through the fishsite.com. The different levels of courses that are available at the University of St Andrews range from what we would call a basic course, an undergraduate certificate course, which is at undergraduate level, right the way through to an MSc in sustainable aquaculture, which is the highest level of taught course available in the higher education system. So the undergraduate certificate course is really an introduction to aquaculture for those who've never had the opportunity to study aquaculture in the past, perhaps those looking to convert to a career in aquaculture, or perhaps for students who have been working in the aquaculture industry for a long period of time but have no formal qualifications. It allows them to study and to get a formal qualification in sustainable aquaculture. Critically, the undergraduate certificate course for a student like that who's working within the aquaculture industry, if a student successfully completes the undergraduate certificate course, together with their professional experience that they've had from their job, that would allow them to enter one of our higher level postgraduate courses. So our postgraduate courses consist of postgraduate certificate courses, postgraduate diploma courses, and the full MSc course. The postgraduate certificate course is what we call a 60-credit course, and these courses are based around either sustainable aquaculture in vertebrate species, primarily fish species, or sustainable aquaculture in invertebrate species, and that's primarily shrimp, and to a lesser extent mollusks. So this allows students to have a shorter, very focused course on a specific area of aquaculture. Now, the postgraduate diploma is 120 credits in the university system, and that 120 credits essentially is joining the two 60-credit courses together to produce 120 credits, and that covers all aspects of the sustainable aquaculture, including both vertebrate and invertebrate species. Now, to qualify with an MSc, a student has to complete those 120 credits of taught courses, and in addition do a research dissertation, which adds a further 60 credits to make up the full 180 credit MSc. So there's a number of different starting points and exiting points for students, depending on what their particular interest is, and depending on how wide they wish their studies to be within